Welcome back to Unlocking Fertility. Hi, I'm your host, Katherine Rowland. For those of you who are new here, I'm a Chinese medicine practitioner who has been specializing in fertility for over 8 years now, coming up on 9 years, and I've helped hundreds of women get pregnant naturally, as well as myself. And today we're going to be answering the age-old question of, I am healthy, why am I not getting pregnant? This is a question that was very close to my heart at one time over 10 years ago when I was struggling to get pregnant. If you're not familiar with my fertility story, it took me over 2 years to get pregnant with my first child. It took me only 2 months to get pregnant with my second child. Over 10 years ago, I was that picture of health asking myself, why couldn't I get pregnant? And I'm going to answer that really simply, and then I will dive into explaining it a little bit further. But the answer to the question is, if you're not getting pregnant, it's because you're not as healthy as you think. And I just want to start by saying health is a spectrum, right? Just because you're not getting pregnant doesn't mean you're on death's door, but it is your body communicating to you and telling you something. It's telling you that something is off that needs to be addressed. And so what I often see when I get this question from women is that we haven't been taught properly what health is. And so to paint a picture for you, over 10 years ago, I was 30 years old, was starting my journey of trying to conceive my first child. I had just run a marathon for my 30th birthday. I ate at least 3 meals a day. I ate consistently. I ate healthy, whole foods, right? I had a yogurt bowl for breakfast, a salad for lunch, some meat or protein and veggies and carbs for dinner. I ate a really whole-rounded diet of whole foods. I exercised 4 to 5 days a week. I wasn't overweight. I was the picture of health. But the truth is I wasn't healthy at all. And so I think we need to redefine what health is. And it's not your fault. I feel like in Western medicine, we're not really taught what health is. From the image I get, if you exercise, you work out, and you're good weight, you're healthy. But truthfully, that is not the truth. So when I'm working with a woman and she says this to me, I feel like I'm healthy. Why am I not getting pregnant? The first question I will ask her is, okay, tell me what's going on in your body. And then I might get something back like, what do you mean? And I'll be like, tell me the symptoms that are going on in your body. And I might get a response like, nothing, I feel great, I feel healthy. I'll be like, okay, so what is your cycle like? Well, my cycle is regular. What does regular mean to you? Well, I get it every 22 days. 22 days is not a regular cycle. 22 days is a short cycle. It is a cycle that you are getting regularly, right? So that's one sign of something that's out of balance in your body. And then I'll dig more and I'll be asked, how is your digestion? It's okay, but I only go to the bathroom once every 2 days. Well, that's a sign that something is often out of balance in your body. You should be having a bowel movement regularly, at least once a day and no more than 3 times a day, right? So all of this to say that your body is always communicating to you, and often we don't stop to listen to it. So if you feel like you're healthy and you don't understand why you're not getting pregnant, the first thing I want you to do is write down all the signs and symptoms going on in your body. Anything that feels off or uncomfortable, and even things that you've been taught are normal but actually aren't normal. Things like painful periods, long cycles, short cycles, gas, bloating, indigestion, PMS. Any PMS symptoms are absolutely not normal. Hair shedding, skin issues, nail issues, sleep issues, pain in the body. Write that all down, because that's all a sign that something is out of balance in your body that needs to be addressed. The signs and symptoms are the way that your body is communicating to you. So what I find frequently is we think we're healthy when we're actually not that picture of health that we thought we were. And so for me, when I was 30 years old and I thought I was the picture of health, I was absolutely not the picture of health. I wasn't getting a cycle. My sleep was horrible. I had real issues with control, of needing to be in control. I had underlying anxiety that, truthfully, I'm just saying this in retrospect, I didn't even realize in the moment, right? There was a lot of symptoms going on in my body that was telling me something was off, and I was not as healthy as I actually thought it was. And so my unhealthy habits at that time were actually over-exercising, right? I had just run a marathon, which is wonderful that my body could accomplish that, but I was actually exercising in a way that was too intense for my body. I was exercising 4 to 5 days a week, running mainly intense, high-intensity workouts, and it was all too draining on my body. I was eating well. I was eating whole foods. I was eating a really well-balanced diet, but I was eating a lot of cold foods. Now, the reason eating cold foods becomes a problem for fertility and overall health is because cold foods are harder for your body to digest. And anything that's harder for your body to digest is going to weaken the energy of the spleen. In Chinese medicine, the energy of our spleen is responsible for digesting and absorbing the food that we eat and turning that food into usable nutrients that we can use to create resources in our body. The resources our body needs for a healthy menstrual cycle, to get pregnant, to maintain a healthy pregnancy, things like blood and yin, which is thick fluids in our body, things like qi, actual energy, right? Our body needs fuel to create another human being. I was eating the right foods, but my body wasn't getting the nutrients from the food that I was eating. And then there's the fact that I had this low-lying level of stress, which for me came from control issues. Needing to control the food I ate, needing to control my activities. I was very scheduled and didn't deal well with flexibility, right? And that creates an underlying sense of not feeling safe and a lack of security, because you feel like if you were to do something last minute or you're out of control, that it's not safe, right? It leaves this feeling of not feeling safe in your body. So that energy of anxiety, of needing to control things, was like an Energizer bunny running in my body, draining my battery, right? Draining the fuel in my body. And if you're new to my podcast, you probably haven't heard this, but if you are not new, you've probably heard this a million times. But in order to get pregnant and maintain a healthy pregnancy, your body needs an abundance of resources. And so anything that you're doing to drain these resources, such as high intensity exercise, under eating, stress, anxiety, worry, and fear, it's draining your body of the resources that you need to get pregnant. And so if you're sitting there thinking, well, I'm healthy, why can't I get pregnant? I want you to entertain the idea that what you were taught were healthy habits might not actually be healthy habits. And there's so much information out there on social media, the news, books, magazines, right? And we can't trust it all. We really cannot trust it all. There's a new fad diet and a new trend every day. And the one thing I will say about trends is that they're trendy, right? And we're never going to find balance through extreme activities. So take that into account also to anything that you're doing. But if you feel like you're healthy and you're not getting pregnant, it's a sign that something's out of balance and needs to be addressed. And that's what I really love about Chinese medicine, is it gives us this map to address these signs and symptoms, to understand really what's going on in your body and how your body is trying to communicate to you. So if after listening to this episode, you know that your body's trying to communicate something to you and you're just not sure what, that's where my work can really help. So if you're looking for support, please reach out. You can find me on social media. You can find me on my website. All the information's in my show notes. But know that there is a reason that you're not getting pregnant and that your body is communicating to you. And all we need to do is stop and listen, and then learn and understand how to really support your body. As always, thank you for listening. If you feel like this podcast could be helpful for someone, a friend, a family, a coworker, please send to them. My goal is always to empower and help more women. So the more women who can understand these things and can start to look at their body and their health differently, the more women we can help. Thank you.